So we're in the boatyard. It's kind of a windy day. Sunny but windy. And we are getting Agape ready for the next season. We've got the work done on the props, and the bottom paint is complete. Both hulls, of course. Looking good. A little windy today, a little cloudy, but it's been pretty nice here in St. Augustine. Nice thing about a catamaran is you got a carport for your car. Probably gonna have that a couple more days. So I've been gathering materials to do the polish and wax on the hulls. You can see kind of the line there that needs to be dealt with. This is kind of an annual event. Got some stuff on the outside of the hulls too that we need to work on. They're not in too bad a shape. Got the mascara running from our windows, that's what we call it on the Helia land. But the hulls look pretty good. Gonna definitely need some touch up, some polish, wax. But overall looks like it's pretty good shape. We're looking pretty good. So we got about 10 days until launch, and we got a bit of work to do. Betsy's still in California, but she will be back soon, and we will get the show on the road. I've got my buffing pads coming today, so I'll probably be able to get the polish and wax started. So I'm going to do a kind of a daily in the yard video. We'll see how this goes. It's going to be kind of quick and dirty, not a lot of fancy stuff since I'm going to be posted on a daily basis, but this is basically in the yard getting the boat ready for another season. The first thing you need is a heater. So we're in Florida. It's getting down into the 30s tonight, St. Augustine, Florida, and so you need a little electric heater. I run this off the yard power. This yard, about all you get is one 15 amp circuit, so that's all we can do, but that little heater will keep you warm at night, and during the day the sun warms up the salon pretty nicely. But all jokes aside, you can see I've got boxes of stuff and piles of stuff. That's our head sail on our dining room table there. So basically this week I've been chasing parts, and we've got a list of projects. We kind of divided them up to the ones that have to be done on the hard, things like polishing the hulls and doing some work on the dinghy, and a couple other things that just almost impossible to get done on the water. And then there's a lot of other things that we can do on the water. So this is kind of new. Like I said, it's going to be kind of rough. It'll just be kind of as I do it. First project today is changing out this laundry line. So this laundry line worked really well. We thought we'd try it out temporarily, and it works really good because we can dry our clothes even when it's raining outside. So can't really use the dry function on our washer dryer because it uses too much water and electricity. So I'm going to replace this line here with a wire, and I'm going to use my mounts for my solar panels, one of the bolts there, and then one of the bolts on the other end here. And I've kind of Jimmy McGee'd this, so we'll see how it works. Most of the parts at Home Depot. Hard part is finding everything I needed in stainless instead of zinc. So we'll see how we do replacing our laundry line. So I found these stainless hook and eye turnbuckles at Home Depot, and that's what it looks like installed. Found one that threaded right onto the bolts that come through. This is the solar panel support, so that's taking the place of one of the nut combinations there. And then I'm going to attach some wire to this and another turnbuckle to tighten the whole thing. One of the things you'll notice in our boatyard series here, that the boat is filthy. As you can see, this is about 2 months of accumulated grime, because we're basically in a gravel parking lot here. So we found that the best time to clean the boat is right before we get ready to splash, because it just gets dirty every day. So if you're wondering why the boat's so filthy, that's why. So first, next step on our clothesline is to get our wire, and we're going to crimp a ferrule on one end with our swaging tool there. You can't do this with a pair of pliers. You got to have a swaging tool. And we'll put a loop at one end of the wire, and you can see that we have our loop crimped in with our crimping tool. Swaging tool, excuse me. So that's our first step. That's one end of our line that will go on to the bracket over here. So I made a mistake with my design that required another run to Home Depot. I was going to use the open instead of the closed eye, but I kind of forgot that one end of a turnbuckle is reverse thread, which makes sense because when you turn it they both tighten or loosen. So only one end will thread onto the fixture that I have up here, and it's the end with the open eye. So I'm having to use the closed eye, which means I'm going to have to cut that off and redo the end with it through the eye. So another trip to Home Depot and a couple more parts, a few bucks. Alright, we got one end made up, got it crimped with the swaging pliers here, so we just have to work on the other end now. So we have the old laundry drying line. We have the new laundry drying line. All stainless steel and pretty. So, completed the laundry line installation. On to the next project, which is replacing the dinghy hoisting lines, and also reworking this turning point here. The stock turning point is that eye, which works okay on the front because the front of the dinghy is much lighter than the back of the dinghy. The back of the dinghy has the engine, so there's quite a bit more weight, and you can see by the chafing on this line in several places that it's not a good solution. Plus, when you're hoisting the dinghy, the electric winch works really hard. So we're going to try to get some of the friction out of this setup. So the key to this new setup is to end up with this block so its effort is centered coming up into this block here, so we don't have any chafe. And so it's a matter of adjustment. I probably could have done this with a cheek block, but drilling into that stainless and trying to tap it didn't sound like a lot of fun. So I'm going to put a U-bolt here and attach a piece of Daima to the block, and then I'll be able to adjust that block position just by lengthening or shortening the length of the Daima. And we should have a pretty good setup. Plus it's going to move the line from in front of the stainless back support here to behind it. And that's going to help us with our seat that goes here also. So we got our holes drilled and we got our U-bolt installed. A little 4200 underneath it just to seal it, even though that's a solid fiberglass structure. It's always good to seal things up. So I just got to put the backing plate on the bottom, tighten it up. Kind of testing it with a soft shackle that I have, and the angle is just about right. So I'm going to have to put a little bit longer length of Daima on there. But everything looks pretty good. So I've got the ends whipped together, not prettily, but I think it'll be fine. I don't have any really tight spots to go through. I'll just pull one line through with the other. Now I'm just pulling the line here, and up it goes. And it should follow it right on through everything there. Yeah, nicely. New line following the old. Alright, we got the new dinghy hoist lines all installed. I've just got tape on the ends for now. Make sure everything's going to work right. I left an end on that, so we're just going to kind of let everything settle in. But the dinghy is hoisted. I'm going to let it sit there a couple foot or so off the ground tonight and just get everything stretched out and see where it all ends up. But that's another project done.